As the world is rapidly urbanizing, more people are faced with one of life's most basic problems: finding accommodation. If you live in a city like Johannesburg, for example, you'll notice more shanty towns popping up constantly. But two Gauteng entrepreneurs have found an innovative way to help ease South Africa's housing burden. Informal settlements, squatter camps, or shacks. These mark the wounds of a country ravaged by housing shortages. Fortunately, the problem has a solution. And for these Gauteng entrepreneurs, it's an unconventional one.
You see these multicolored containers which are partly rusted and they're stacked in heaps 6 stories high. Your first reaction is, wow, that's ugly.
But using these heaps of metal, Paul Lapham and Arthur Blake are revolutionizing affordable housing in South Africa.
It's not difficult to construct with containers. The structure is so secure. It's made to be stacked on ships traveling worldwide, 9 high, with 25,000 kilograms in it.
The story of this housing revolution started back in 2009. A former banker, Paul Lapham, had been focusing on growing his new property company, buying and renovating buildings across Johannesburg.
There's been a lot of urban, I think the term is degeneration. The city had gone backwards a lot. There's so much that could be done across Johannesburg to make accommodation better and provide people with better homes.
But as property prices continued to soar, he needed to rethink his strategy.
We need to find other ways to be able to add to our portfolio, not just buying an existing building and fixing it up, but actually look at the opportunity to go out and find sites where we can build a brand new building from scratch.
Paul wanted someone with experience in architecture, engineering, and construction. Luckily, he would meet Arthur, a structural engineer who'd been running his own construction consulting company. Paul convinced Arthur to sign on with him in late 2009. The duo would develop a groundbreaking partnership with Paul, providing financial backing for Arthur's creative projects.
The synergy between me and Paul, where he gives me the freedom to experiment and to take things further.
The idea of turning shipping containers into housing units had been tried and successfully tested elsewhere in the world. But South Africa wasn't ready for it.
The only problem is that in South Africa not enough engineers have been exposed to it because it's not a system that's being used continuously. So it's very difficult for them to get their minds around studying the form of construction.
It meant Paul and his partner had to think like true pioneers and take a new architectural path. Windsor East in Johannesburg became the birthplace of their container housing.
There were various things. The one was, how is a shanty town going to look in the middle of Windsor? That's the first thing you think of, containers.
Still, the two entrepreneurs believed in their vision and they were not going to easily back down. Given the size and space these containers offer, they make convenient and versatile building material.
The brick is a small piece, and it takes a lot of them to create a wall, for instance. Whereas with a container, you've got one big piece that you can put in, and you've instantly got a 28 square meter void.
Using this advantage, Paul and Arthur's team finished construction in a record 4.5 months. Even more amazingly, they rented out all 15 units within 2 days.
It's neat. There's less overcrowding. Other flats are mostly old flats. And then we have this postmodern building in the middle of the area, which is quite funky.
Given the fact that we're in an ethos of recycling and environmentally friendliness, obviously it could be a viable proposition to consider that as a prefabricated model for housing.
Paul and Arthur's initially ridiculous idea had finally taken off. They are now building a shopping center in Melville, having already finished 3 projects, including this one for students.
A lot of us just underestimated what they're doing at the beginning. So like by the time they finished everything, I just started realizing this is a nice place to stay in.
There you have it. South Africa is a country rich with individuals who have amazing stories to tell. People who are setting an example on how change can be achieved. Well, join us again next time to celebrate these stories of courage and triumph. My name is Mphola Gaje. Cheers.